Welcome to the Strong Casuals podcast. My name is Ben. I have Anthony and the Cord King Eric here with me. Tonight we are joined by the one, the oldie, Nadia Storm Stowers. Thank you for being on the podcast. We really appreciate this.
No, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. Like I said, any chance I have to share my experiences or my stories, I'm always going to be there.
Awesome. And we appreciate it. And that's kind of why we're here and what we're doing. We know it's kind of cliche to start with questions about how did you get into this, but it's easy to see that for the last many years you've sort of been destroying the 82 kilogram weight class here. How do you stay on top, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You've been a powerhouse since you started competing, and sometimes that's hard to do. And so what do you attest that to?
Well, first, thank you. I really appreciate it. That's just honestly, listening to your coach, I feel like if something is missing in the sport, because people will hire coaches and they take it more as almost an advisory. I'm like, no, if you're putting your trust in that coach, they probably know you and what you can do better than yourself. So just listening to Jacob, who's my coach and partner, and really just believing in his vision is what keeps you going. Because once you let that self-doubt in, or he's like, oh, you're going to press a 200-pound dumbbell one day. If you're like, yeah, okay, that deflates that. But if you keep that belief up, it keeps you excited, it keeps you happy. And as long as you're having happy, to me, that's when you start to climb. Because yes, I do take it seriously as a professional, but in the grand scheme of life, at the end of the day, I still get to lift weights. Yeah, so just keeping that happiness keeps you, I think it literally keeps you on top, because it erases all the pressure, erases everything else. So you just relax, go lift weights, and do what you enjoy to do.
Sweet, that's awesome.
No, yeah, that's perfect.
And you've been with your same coach for quite some time now, right? Like that was kind of the beginning of things for you.
Did you come in the sport with him?
It really was. I did, because I haven't played any sport besides this. Like the closest I got was high school marching band. It's exhausting, but does it count?
Absolutely,
totally counts.
I actually met him at a Spartan race randomly. And he was like, hey, I'm opening a gym. Come check it out. I went over there. And then he invited me to see him compete in strongman. And from there, I watched him compete. And I just saw the men. But then the women were around the corner. And I had no idea. And once I saw that, I was like, women could do this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that was the start of it. I was like, show me what you got. Teach me what you know. And we're still going strong 7 years later. Because I do see very commonly athletes will jump from coach to coach to coach. Within very short spans. And being a coach myself, I've seen them leave within a month or two. It doesn't work if you don't commit to your coach. So That's going to be the foundation of it all, honestly. Just sticking with him. And like I said, 7 years, I don't think people stay that long, but it clearly works.
No, I mean, it totally works. It makes sense. It's interesting that, you didn't do any sports like growing up, but I mean, how did you get, like, did you just always lifted weights? Were you into like the race style, like Spartan races and stuff like that? What even got you interested in the Spartan races and stuff?
I was a member of the camp, which is, everybody knows the camp. It's a fitness boot camp training center. And honestly, I started out as your regular person, just wanting to lose weight, look better, feel better. Meeting them, they do a lot of group activities. So that was the Spartan. And then from there, it just kind of went on. I didn't lift weights probably only a year before I met Jacob, honestly. Because like I said, I just got into the gym to feel good, and I kind of messed around with the free weights and stuff, but nothing too serious. And so once I saw him and we started our programming, it stuck with me. And so I feel like I'm blessed that I haven't played a sport or I didn't do anything before this, because I don't have a lot of wear and tear in my body.
Yeah.
And so the injuries that are just now happening, I got them 7 years in, where most people would see them super sooner. So it's just bought me a little more time. I think, honestly, not playing a sport, I think it worked out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Probably starting from scratch would obviously make, Jacob can take you and mold you however he needs to. So that makes perfect sense.
Exactly. Awesome. And this is the product. It's like, to say any testimony to his coaching, it's like, it works if you honestly, you got to stick to it. It works if you work it.
Right.
Cliche is that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, one place it's working is your deadlift. Dear Lord, this is watching your Hummer tire deadlift in the Shaw Classic was a beautiful thing. And in the last, at least as far as I could find, the last 8 deadlift events, you've won 6 of them and came in second in the 7th. So was deadlift like a lift that you like immediately latched onto, or was it something that you've trained a lot or enjoy doing?
I did build myself up to over 300-pound deadlift on my own before I met Jacob. So it was definitely something that I liked. I bought my first deadlift straps, like in a commercial gym. I don't know what I'm doing, but I bought them before I started pressing or benching or whatever, I was like, these seem cool for deadlift, but I didn't get any other accessories. And so deadlift is just kind of one of those things I feel like I'm built for, because a lot of people think I'm taller because they see my legs, they see my arms, and they think I stand at 5'8", 5'9". I'm like, I'm down here at 5'4". So you can imagine
Right.
long
Right.
arms, long legs for a deadlift. It's like I kind of just hinge it. I don't even really need to squat my butt or anything because my
Yeah.
arms are so long. So I think it quickly became a favorite because I was like, I could pull a lot of weight off the ground with very little effort. Not to say it's not hard or anything, but I don't feel
Right.
like the bleeding or my eyes are going to pop out or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's just,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm born for deadlifts, literally.
Yeah. No, and you're showing it, and it's super fun to watch. We
Thank you.
we were both so we went to OSG. We happened to live in Madison, so we were there for the entire event and enjoyed it a lot. But just wondering your thoughts. How do you think the event went? Obviously, it went well, but I mean, as far as the logistics of working through the different events or the different pieces, how'd that go?
This year off OSG, it actually ran a lot differently because this would be my 5th one. And normally we go through the weight classes all normal, starting with lightest to heaviest. This time they kind of blocked us in weight classes of 2, and then it would be spread out throughout the day. So we're not always there. So you got your 2 events done and out of the way within, honestly, I want to say an hour. That would be that was a big change for me because I'm used to being able to sit down, catch my breath, grab food, shove something in my face before the next event and refuel. So this one really pushed endurance. Honestly, are you conditioned? Can you go with very little fuel, or do you know how to get yourself recovered faster? That was new this year. And then Madison, Wisconsin was new this year because it's normally in Florida. Then last year, I want to say it was in Virginia Beach. I'd say other than that, the organization of the show always goes well. Lynn always runs a very smooth operation. I'd say better than some competitions with only 30 athletes. He can run it with 300, so it runs like clockwork. And it had its ups and downs because it was ended on the most high, but towards the middle there, I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to complete the show because I tore my Achilles on the sled pull. So,
Yeah.
but all things considered, I wouldn't really change much about that show because it's very challenging in the best ways. And I often call it the final strongman showdown because at the end of the year, for all over the world.
Yeah.
So I'd say besides that time change, if you're into strongman, just don't be afraid. Give OSG a shot at least once. If you don't like it, fine, but
Yeah.
at least try it. It's one show that I will highly recommend all the time.
Yeah, we enjoyed it quite a bit. You seem to have the curse of the Achilles, apparently, as far as OSG is concerned. How are you doing recovering from that?
I'm actually doing very well. And yeah, it actually stems back to when I was younger because my knees don't line up with my toes like we're supposed to be. And so doctors actually wanted to do surgery on my knees when I was very little. My grandmother didn't let them. Thankfully, I don't think it would have gone well either way.
Sure.
So I think forcing my body into the correct forms, everything kind of gets tighter. It's relearning how to move like athletic wise. And so I'm noticing that all the tension kind of goes into my calves, into my Achilles, and that's our driving forces. So they tend to pop. I had the same injury last year. So when it happened, I was like, of course it's disappointing, but I knew what I needed to do and I knew how fast I could get back.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I've only gotten injuries, like I said, 7 years in as opposed to 1 or 2. So
Yeah.
it's going to come. We can't walk away from this unscathed because we know what we're getting into. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's strenuous. But yeah, it's just so far, just my Achilles has been the issue. So hopefully after this, they'll both be bulletproof because the other one is pretty solid.
Absolutely.
They gotta be after the way they bounce back after,
Yeah.
Because how are you already back training? Everything's going okay now. How does it feel at this moment?
Yeah, we came back. I took about a week off from OSG, and I am still trying to make it to the Arnold, getting healed up in time. And so we've kind of just jumped into the lighter Arnold prep, which always starts light in the beginning anyway, so it'll give me a little bit more time to heal. So far, I'm able to do a lot. Like I'm able to deadlift. I can still pick up stones. I can squat. The only thing I can't do is really push off of it for now. So doing any kind of medley or any kind of sled push is out of the question just for the time being. But while we're still prepping and working, we're trying to get as many events in that we can. So by the time I'm moving around and stuff, we can just quickly add those moving events in there and get right back up to speed. So it's hopeful. Like there's a chance it may not pan out, but you don't know until you know. So you got to give it a shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we started this podcast not that long ago, like 6-7 months ago.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
we're very new. But we grew up with like strength sports. We watched World's Strongest Man on TV and all that kind of stuff. And we often talk about the fact that like strongman is kind of an interesting sport and that it's both like an event, sort of a show, and also a sport. And so I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on like that marriage between like it's sort of a spectacle, you know, you're doing these crazy things like carrying wrecking balls, but at the same time it is a strength sport, right? So I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts about how those two things kind of play into each other.
Well, I definitely would qualify. I would say it's both aesthetically pleasing, and very technical. So to me, when it's aesthetically pleasing, it's eye catching. It's like, what are they doing? So every time we're doing strongman, you're always going to get those stares in our own gym, and I feel that is what draws the audiences.
Yeah.
And then on the athlete side, to make it sports, it's very technical. You still have to be conditioned. You have to be fast. You have to be able to breathe. So I tell people, yeah, powerlifting's fun and all, but with strongman, I'll pick up that squat and run with it, hence a yoke. Pick up that deadlift and run with it, hence farmers.
Right.
I feel like it takes athleticism just to that next level, while intriguing the masses, because powerlifting, not to down it or anything, it's all bars and plates. Like you see nothing else.
Yeah.
And then with strongman, we might wheel around this whole contraption someone thought up in the middle of the night, and now it's an event. So it's you'll never be bored with it. It's so much fun, and you honestly can't jump into it. So that's what makes it a sport to me. You have to learn. You have to start from the bottom, work your way up, and then competition-wise, it really puts the sports mode into it, because you're now seeing people at your level or your competitors. And anytime you're a competitor, to me, it's going to count as a sport. And it's just so much fun to watch and to look at, and the audience's reactions are fun because like, we know it's going to happen. But if someone like passes out during a deadlift or something, everybody's all concerned. It's like that happens,
Right?
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Fine. It happens all the time.
Yeah. Like,
so I think
it's Tuesday.
Right. Like this was our first. This was our first live like strongman event. So like for the wrecking ball hold, for example, it's like when it's pretty quiet sometimes, and then somebody will just pass out, and then all the fans are just like, all right, all right. Keep. Are we supposed to cheer? What is going on? Like what? Right. Meanwhile, the other person is still holding the wrecking ball, and we're like, that person is on the ground. We probably should worry about that person, but this person is still counting. So it's fine. It's an interesting like dichotomy. Are we supposed to be distressed? And no, everybody's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. This is kind of par for the course in some of these events. It's really just like when whether when it comes to a lot of the events where it's like, I'm trying to think what's the one. Why am I Conan's wheel, for example? So, a huge one that will make people pass out regularly on the end of the Conan's wheel, and you're just like, don't worry, I promise you this is okay. This is going to be
fine.
This is totally fine.
Why is there not an ambulance?
Yeah,
Why is there not an ambulance?
He's sleeping and it's momentary and everything's going to be okay. And then sometimes it can be worse. Of course, sometimes, there'll be a seizure. You're like, no, it's still okay. I swear everything's still going to be okay.
Right.
Please just, a finger cross would help. It probably would help the man, but yeah, it's interesting to like trying to bring that casual fan in and let them know that, no, this is just normal stuff. I mean, these people are putting their bodies to the absolute degree that it shouldn't be pushed, but it's like, this is the whole goal of the thing. Well, it should be. That's the thing. These people will say it shouldn't be pushed that far, of course, but it's like, that's the whole goal. I mean, you guys are doing exactly what you are trying to do. I mean, you're pushing the body to the degree that's surpassing everything else that can possibly be pushed. And it's like, this is what's going on. With an event like Conan's Wheel, for example, it's like, when we were talking about those eye-catching events, would you prefer, if we're doing a Conan's Wheel with, for example, in the World's Strongest Man, they did one with a train, or, typically it's just like a bucket of rocks. Like, would you prefer like those more spectacle events to bring more people in, or do you really not care either way?
That's a hard one, because I do want them to enjoy the show, but I don't want the athlete's safety or the athlete's time to be sacrificed just for the making of a show. Because we have been in those situations where sometimes we only have time to warm up. And I'm like, you're asking us to go for a max and we haven't touched anything. I don't care if there's a commercial break. We need to warm up. So it's kind of the balance between those two. But for me, I always want to put on a good show, but doing what we're doing. So if we chose to do, let's say, farmers, we're going to stick with the farmers, and the people who are drawn to those farmers, that's our audience. Like, we shouldn't be trying to grab people who have no interest in it, because then that's when I feel like negativity spurs. They're like, well, why are you doing that? That's stupid. It's just keyboard warriors all day long.
Right.
That is
So
true.
I honestly feel like if we just need to go more towards the athlete's strengths, like what the basis of strongman is, like not change the show so much that we're like, I don't recognize 5 out of these 6 events, and you should
Yeah.
because strongman has certain. You have a pull, you have a press, you have a medley, and those kind of follows those rules.
Yeah.
So as long as it's like that, I feel like it should always stay within the strongman realm that way, and it should draw the right audience. If we're just doing what we're true to ourselves as strongman,
Yeah.
if we go out and start doing other things to get other
Reconnecting.
There we go.
okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
I apologize. It's the fires, like the wind is what started the fires, so it's been knocking down telephone poles and stuff
No,
like that.
totally
No
fine.
problem.
We have
No worries.
we pay millions of dollars to our editor for stuff like that. Exactly. This is, so it's
We're
totally
like-
fine. He's
Yeah.
getting a raise
He's gonna
because yeah. Don't worry about it.
He's gonna get 7 beers instead of 6.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's all the raise he needs. Don't even worry about it. But no, what you were saying, that totally makes sense. I mean, you kind of got to find the medium. You don't want too many fans to where it becomes, just like everything else, where it's like there's just haters nonstop for literally no reason. So that I totally agree with you on. I know nobody ever brings that up in that sense. Like you don't want too many, because we always talk about that. We're casual fans. We don't do strongman, but we love strongman and we love strongwoman and we want the sport to get bigger. But it's like, so we always talk about bringing eyes to the sport, but you don't want like somebody who's going to stick around and not care and just troll for the sake of trolling, because that's kind of what people do in 2024.
Unfortunately,
That's literally what they do.
That's really what you woke up and chose to do today. I'm like, do
Yeah.
you feel better?
Oh my God.
It's like, just stop.
They go to sleep so happy, I feel. I don't know why.
They don't. They don't. And I mean, that's. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's just their own insecurities, especially
Yeah.
when they see the women. It taps in the wrong part of their ego where they know they can't do that, so they have to puff and say something.
100%.
Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't imagine. Honestly, I cannot imagine dealing with that like day in and day out. But that's how we sort of found ourselves where we are, is because we love watching these events and we love being a fan, and we noticed that basically there's like not so many of us.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like, it's very clear, like when we went to OSG, like there's a huge following of athletes, and those athletes kind of bring their people with them. And then like, it's at the same time, it's like, it's tough to convince a whole bunch of people to be engaged when they don't know much about it. So we're trying to, at least to a point, spread some of the word. I know before, like in another interview, you had talked about like trying to get women into this sport and them sort of having apprehension about like whether or not they want to do it. Do you see like a pathway or a way to sort of make strongman more accessible, or is it sort of information, or is it how do you see it growing, I guess?
Well, to go back on the women, I feel like their number one thing is fear. And so it doesn't matter if there's a book right in front of you. If you're afraid of it, you're not going to read it. So those types of things. It's just getting them over that fear to show them that they can do this. And with that, I feel like if we could show people what it feels like, what your true potential is, how far you can push your body and make that appealing, I feel like that's when the sport would grow. Because right now, for whatever reason, people have an aversion to anything heavy. People have an aversion to trying your hardest. They're like, well, I don't do that. It's going to hurt. I'm like, so? What? Sometimes when things hurt, that's when you get the benefit of it. And that's just life in general.
Yeah.
And so I feel like if we just get people past the fear of trying and getting past the fear of getting hurt or things like that, then we will be able to grow the sport. But I think people just react way too fast and they shut it down too fast.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And like I said, those are in our crowd. Like they're not going to be able to appreciate what we're doing, and they will just hang around and troll or talk bad about it anytime they have a chance to get, because it makes themselves feel better. But to me, I feel like once we get more competitors, it will help the sport grow, because we just need more of us.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that like the more people we can get out there with positive influence, showing good things happening. And yeah, like, it's okay to come up against a hard thing and do it and be successful and actually do a lot of these things. I think a lot of people see injury. I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I feel like a lot of people see injury and then they get
I'm sure.
really anxious about whatever. And we actually interviewed Nick Best at OSG, and he made a comment about like, well, sure, I mean, if you do nothing, you will never get hurt.
Yeah.
And like if you do something and you try at something and you get better at it, there's a chance that you're going to get hurt, but it's sort of worth that path, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you do anything, inevitably life hurts. Okay, life hurts a lot, like a lot.
Exactly.
And it's so funny when you're a child, you're in school, you're like you're invincible. When you're in like middle school and high school, for some reason, we feel like nothing can kill you, and then you get into the real world, and then all of a sudden, whether you felt you're invincible, you instantly feel like soft as like pudding. You're just like I'm so vulnerable in this real world. You're like, it's scary out here, and I don't want to get hurt. And then you go to work, and you're like, well, this is actually just school again, but I don't feel invincible anymore. And now everybody's mean, and now they're old and mean, and I don't like any of this. And you're like, well, and so just putting yourself through just working out, lifting weights, just putting yourself through any tribulation will help you realize that just living life isn't as difficult as it actually you believe it to be.
Absolutely.
7 years you've been doing Strong Woman. I mean, how much has it already grown? Like in those 7 years, astronomical, I'd imagine, within just the 7 years.
I would say I would actually see more show and promotional growth versus women in like joining competitions. We're still struggling in that aspect. But the ones that are out there that are active, like myself, we're setting the example that hey, they can actually do this. And so let's put them into this show. Like there was now the Arnolds, like there was always Strong Man was the main thing, and Strong Woman was separate. And so now Strong Men and Strong Women are on that same stage. They're coming up with America's Strongest Woman is getting back into swing of things at the Olympia, and then at the end of the year they just added Women's Rogue to the Invitational. And so I'm seeing a lot of more opportunities pop up, which actually makes me want to cry out to women even more. I'm like, you're asking for these things and they're fulfilling them. All you have to do is try. And it's going back to what you were saying is the fear of injury. I'm like, yeah, but you could slip in the shower. You can get into a car accident. You can walk in the street. So you're going to stop doing all those things because you're afraid to get hurt. Like, just sit down. Don't move, don't breathe, do nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is.
It's the injury. We're like, nah, that's why you get a coach and you'll be okay. And even if we get hurt, I don't know if it's in any other sport, but there's something about the spirit of strongman that even when we're hurt, we're like, where's the athletic tape? Wrap it up, shove some chalk, that's gauze, and we're back out on the floor. So it builds that inner integrity, that inner grit, that grind, which I feel like everybody absolutely needs. And so I really would like to see more women and men. Like I'm not just about the women, but I would love to see more women just step up to that plate like that. And once you feel that, it's addicting. It's just getting them to that starting point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talked a lot in the past about grit, like the idea that you just sort of like that idea of having the passion or the tenacity to do the thing that you need to do. Have you found, is that been present with you your entire life, or is that something that you had special with the strength sports?
I feel like it's been with me my entire life, but more mentally than physically, because like we all have childhood stories and things like you don't get to pick and choose. Your parents are your childhood growing up, and so I feel like I was more mentally gritty. And so when it came to getting into strongman, now that's just applied to the physical. But we know the mind is stronger than the body. So if I was like, let me try that, let me train this, and as long as you're staying positive all about it, you're going to excel, honestly. And I would say now I'm both physically and mentally the strongest person that I've ever thought I could be. Because say running a sled and getting your Achilles ruptured when you have a chance at their title, I don't know. I've seen people panic. I've seen people literally lose their shit. They're running around. They don't know what to do. So when Jacob took me over to the chiropractor table, we just kind of sat, we had our moments, and then I'm able to bounce back out of that so quickly because of the mental fortitude that I've been able to have. So
that's amazing. I mean,
it's incredibly amazing.
We watched you compete for the rest of the show, and it was amazing. It was beautiful to watch.
I was literally crying. I'm crying in the stands, and you should be crying. My Achilles was ruptured, and I'm just doing nothing.
Well, yeah, but no, it was insane. It was incredible to watch.
Insanely resilient. It was super, super impressive.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
So, do you have? I know this is kind of maybe an off the wall question, but do you have a least favorite event that you've ever done?
Yeah, the top of that list is going to be Husafel.
Okay.
Just because, like I said, if you look at my arms and my legs, I'm supposed to be taller, but then I'm literally, I want to say,
Yeah.
3 feet or whatever from my torso. So like I have nowhere
Sure.
to put it to get it high enough. It's literally at my forehead, so I'm having to rely on somebody to tell me where the tapes are,
Right.
which is hard for me. I don't trust people to get their timing right, and
Sure.
it's a whole mess. But especially Husafel, we fight, like we fought hard last year for America's Strongest Woman because there was a Husafel 300 pounds, and I was like, I can pick 300 pounds and hold it. It's getting it off the floor when your legs and your arms are like this.
Sure,
You can't
right.
get let down. Like, the levers are just all wrong for that event. So me and Huso will probably battle it out till I retire. So we do that a lot.
Fair enough.
Besides deadlift, do you have another favorite event? Like, what are your other favorite events? Your preferred events?
I actually really enjoy yoke because I don't know if you guys have ever done it, but once you have it on your back and you find your stride and it's sitting just right, you don't even really feel the weight. It literally just feels like you're flying with this little just massive machine on you. And it gives you like a surreal power feeling. It's like, there's not many people who could do this. Like
Right.
we now have women. It's like in America's, it was 600 pounds, and there's 3-4 of us that can do that. I'm like, where else in the world are you going to see women put 600
Seriously.
pounds in the back?
Nowhere. Nowhere.
So yoke is, yeah, I love it. And yoke is that's probably why I'm one of them. And people actually think log is my favorite press, and ironically, it's not. I love circus dumbbell just because of it's more technical. And then once you stand up with it, you literally have that weight in one hand. Like
it feels very valiant. Yeah, it's like a very super proud.
It looks valiant.
It does look super valiant. Yeah. Both also, I mean, circus dumbbell and yoke, just incredibly pleasing events to watch. No matter what's going on there, you can't mess up the look of those events.
Well, yoke at least has been around in the strength sport world for a long time,
right?
Because it's it's easy to look cool too, right? So I mean, you could throw a car on there or whatever you want to make it look cool, and people are walking around with cars.
School children,
they put
the school children on the sides of the yoke. You're like,
the '80s happened.
Hey,
yeah. No,
these kids could get hurt, but they don't even care that they can get hurt. Okay,
they'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
Exactly. We've determined that audience member participation. Sweet, yeah. So you talked about the Arnolds, and then that may be sort of up in the air. Post Arnolds, do you have like a long-term future look at what things are or what competitions you're looking for?
What's this 2025 look like for you?
Normally I can map out the beginning of my year pretty well. It's towards the end because sometimes some certain shows that I'm used to popping up won't be there, or they don't release the dates until probably say about 2 to 3 months out. So I'm not sure what the back half of my year would look like until we get to about, let's say, August. But for the front half, I always go over to Papa Fletcher's, CT Fletcher's, and do Iron Wars with him. So that's going to be in 2 weeks. And then still, like I said, I'm doing my prep for the Arnold, going to go on to that stage to the best I can, which I want to say is 3 weeks after that. And then honestly, after that, I want to come back and really just hammer weaknesses. I know my foot's still going to need a little bit more healing, so taking care of that guy. And then seeing what shows pop up along the way before we start to get into like hopefully Invitational is this year and I get that invite. OSG, and there's this all at the end of the year. But there's going to be that big, people call it off season, but I kind of just call it training season. And then it's usually around, let's say April and May. There's not much going on during those months. And then I'm hoping during April, that's when those shows will start to pop up and I can start to build my calendar for the back of the year.
Do you like traveling for events? Do you like overseas events? Do you prefer?
I do.
Yeah.
I honestly do, because once you get out of America, strongman is honestly more appreciated.
Yes.
Because America here, we have way too many sports. We have basketball, baseball, football, all that stuff. So people are like, you're going to go watch strongman? I'm like, no. So there's too much to choose from here. But let's say competing in the UK at the Giants Live, that was a very surreal experience because we could never sell in an arena here. Yeah. But over there, they have arenas. And then at the end of the competition, you have lines for literally 2-3 hours straight of people wanting to get your signatures and stuff. And
that's so cool.
It's the most I get over. It's so cool.
It's so cool.
And, when I come back here, all I get is how much you bench. I'm just like, drop off, straight drop off.
That is the most American thing I've ever heard. Yeah,
that is. What's
your total max? I don't care about anything else. What are you doing?
How much do you bench?
That's so fun. Oh my god.
One of my favorite ones is, well, how much do you lift? And I'm like,
what do you mean?
gonna need a little more than
Exactly.
the disconnect between strength and Americans is just so, to me, astronomical. It's bizarre. Like walking around having a built physique shouldn't be just like an act of phenom. Like I feel like everyone should have some form of muscular structure, some form of strength, because we're humans. We came from the caveman. They come to the future, they'd be super embarrassed by us right now.
Oh yeah. Like, how are you not all dead?
Why are you like,
because we have soft plush sweaters and we can we stay safe,
because people deliver me food. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's true.
I have DoorDash, you Neanderthals. What are you talking about?
We all have DoorDash. But
I just had that.
Honestly,
I just had that in an Uber the other day because I was like, the guy was like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Well, I powerlift." And he goes, "So what's your max?" I was like,
everybody will ask.
Okay. Like, I mean, like, we don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
Like, we're just gonna go right to that.
But it's also when they ask that question, it's like, you don't even care. I can say anything.
Yeah. Well, and I have
people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you found this too.
7,000, 7,500 pounds. Well, that's my max. That's what my max is.
You actually go the opposite. Watch people. This will tell you honestly, in America, it drives me crazy because people have no relativity of strength.
Exactly.
And most of them, they'll be like, "Oh, what do you weigh or what do you bench?" They'll be like, 100 pounds. And they're like, "What?" I'm just like, "Oh my god." They have no. There's no relativity.
That is funny.
I said 100 pounds. Think about that.
I know. Wow, don't mess with me. Holy Jesus. You're like, okay.
No, but it's so like, no, yeah. I couldn't agree more. I mean, nobody has even like a gauge as far as like what is good or bad or in the middle.
No.
It's like you could tell them whatever you want and they'll be like, "Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's cool."
Well, so me and Jacob are big fans of just messing with people, which is why, getting back to it, going to the UK, people know who you are, like walking down the street. It was the weirdest thing because I'd only been in the UK twice. I don't have friends or nobody know there, but people who had watched the show and stuff, they'll actually stop you on the street and ask for pictures. And I'm not used to that.
So cool.
People don't know what I do.
Right.
Right.
And then they specifically say strong women. Like, I don't get bodybuilder. I don't get any other stuff that is typical here in America. It's like over there, they have a much higher understanding, and not just that, they care. Like, they are very invested in these athletes. That's my favorite one. I know him. He did such and such in 2019. Like, so going to other countries, it's very refreshing just to get the attention that the sport deserves. And they put on a show. There's fireworks. There's everything. I'm just like,
no, we pay.
Yeah, when we watch something like Giants Live,
we watch all the Giants live streams, and we all like. I mean, this
makes every show look like a joke over here. You're like,
well, and then we were like, we were so jacked when we got our like booth, and we got our like press passes for OSG, and we're like ready to rock out. And then
our booth was like tucked in the back at OSG. We're like, do they hate us so much?
No, it's okay. But
it was wonderful. We had a wonderful time. But when you see Royal Albert Hall sold out,
and Neil Pickup wearing reflective tuxedos.
Neil Pickup is in the shiniest suit you ever done seen.
With that voice.
Oh,
sometimes I play the videos back just to hear that, like the announcement.
Too.
Oh yeah, no, we love us some Neil. That's for sure.
Everything Giants Live puts on. I mean, all those overseas events, they're just they're perfect every time.
I mean, that's what we want here. I mean, that's what we're trying to like. The path seems I don't know, not so obvious. We're trying to do what we can as sort of casual observers, but we're hoping to see it grow. I mean, I think it is growing. I think that like growing. It seems like, and I don't know if you have the same opinion, but it seems like strength sports are growing in general. I mean, powerlifting has been around for a while, and it like, has sort of, it has its constituent. It's also like strongman, where it has athletes and their people, and then it's like not a whole lot else. But I think with the growth of, I don't know, like World's Strongest Man's getting a little bit more stuff. OSG is at least, getting some, like the live stream was fantastic. I mean, we watched some of that too, and things are getting better. Yeah, I mean, I'm just really hopeful that we can grow as much as we possibly can, because it's an amazing sport, and it's sort of, I mean, I think it's the pinnacle of humanity. I mean, it's like literally. That's
why it's just so weird, where it's like, late 90s, early 2000s, 80s and stuff. It's like America loved strength, loved World's Strongest Man again, and then it took that dip, like, since everything like reality which is weird. Strongman is. I mean, it's technically reality TV. It's technically reality TV.
Yeah.
But if Nicole Richie and Paris Hilton aren't on it, what are we even doing? So it's like, It's like, and then it took this huge dip, and now it's like, if you can't put out a quality live stream for a reasonable price, nobody will ever care. And you're just like,
no.
It's tough, and sometimes it's tough when a comp will be all day, and it's like, well, you want me to watch this live stream all day? You're like, no, man, but you can check in. It's like there's a schedule. They have these things. It's just not. People are dumber, I think. I'll say it.
Oh, don't get me started.
Nadia knows. Nadia knows.
Well, but do you? So I guess there's a question in there. I mean, like, do you think that, like, we hinted at this earlier, but, like, do you think that being strong is, like, less of a, I don't know, like, less of a popular quality than it was in the past?
Oh, 100%.
I mean, certainly, yeah.
100%, yeah. Because like I said, if it was a priority still, like, people cared to be strong and things like that, me and Jacob wouldn't walk around feeling like gorillas in a cage where we're just freaking gone. Yeah, it's like, I'm just trying to go grocery shopping. Can you chill? But,
yeah.
I really do feel like it's taken a back seat because now everything is convenience, everything is comfort. Like, don't get me wrong, I still have my DoorDash like we talked about. But
we got to eat.
People will take it and sit on the couch and do nothing with it. So that's the issue.
Right.
And I just really wish people would just grasp that you do need strength. You do need to stay strong. What if you're in a car accident and you need to kick a door open? What if you fell off of a ledge or anything? You need to pull yourself up. So those are the things that I think of, especially with the women who are like, oh, I don't want to work up her body, or I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. And I was just like, all right. So I just push you over and you have no strength whatsoever. Does that make you feel good to get pushed over?
Exactly, right.
So like they're just missing the point of strength. But in the world we're in now, you don't need it. And so if it's not a priority or a necessity, people aren't going to do it. We're making everything too convenient to where people do not want to do hard work. It's almost become taboo to work hard. You're like, I'm not doing that. It's like, why you say it so fast? Like,
I know.
Right.
Over, think about it for a second. So
you're right.
That's just everyday thing.
It is so instinct. There's like no chance, zero chance. You're like, I didn't even say the thing that we were trying to do. Yeah, but I've had a day, and you're like, you work from home. You're like,
but I have a standing desk. Okay,
I have a standing desk. My L6 is killing me. You don't understand. You're just like, people will find any excuse. It's any excuse.
Forgot my UFOs at home.
Right.
Yes. But that's also a fun game I like to play with. Like when I'm in a mood, I'm in a petty mood. When people was just giving me excuses, like I'm talking to a new person interested in signing up, supposedly. Every excuse they come up with, I'm knocking them down until we get to the really, really bottom. And that's when they'll either blame it on the spouse. They'll go, oh, I have to talk to my wife. Oh, I have to talk to my husband.
Sure.
I'm like, why? Like in my head.
Because they're in charge. They're in charge, Nadia.
I was like, if your wife says you can't go to the gym, you can come talk to me, please.
That's true. Well, the boss needs to know if I can lift weights or not.
The boss.
Oh, yeah, that's
in shape. Okay.
So really, what you need is you need some counseling at that point.
Yeah, but the boss counsels me, so it's fine.
That's not how that works.
She knows what's right, dude. It's fine. It's like, I'm in charge of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
People should be more in charge of their life. I think that's really what it is.
I mean,
I feel like they are, but I do feel like that's just a front because it's like once they start asking the questions and we start telling them the hard truths, it's like they don't want to hear that they can't lose 10 years of fat in a month. It's just like, it's really impossible. I'm not going to lie to your face. I'm going to be honest. And that's what our dogma really is we're like, yeah, it's going to be hard work. It takes time. It takes patience, which are all things that people don't have anymore.
Yeah.
Nadia, I have Wegovy and Ozempic. I don't have time for the gym, okay? I can take my pills and eat my Funyuns and I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to be fine. That's what they say.
Sure.
That's what they say.
Go ahead.
The fact that that's even a thing, like it's like we have we had Hydroxycut a while ago, but that was just those are just starvation.
Fat-free ways.
But
like the Ozempic is way worse because I had actually Jacob and myself. I had one client on it. He had one client on it, and I kicked the girl's like mental ass. I was like, "What are you doing?" And so that one I ran into her for because she has nothing to lose, and if she withers away, I want to say she's about 5'10". She's just gonna be a beanpole, and I'm just like, "What are you doing?" And she still wants to do strongman. So I was like, "We can't be on Ozempic and do strongman, hun. It's not
that's not how that works."
Well, and that's what I see. Those people who use Ozempic, it's like I need to lose 20, and you're like. You're like 140. You can't even lose 20.
Literally.
You can't lose that 20. That's vital, or you will pass away.
Well, and we could use that 20 and do something with it.
We could bulk that 20.
I just feel like there are people who are outcome focused and people who are process focused and people that can't sort of understand that it's a process and it's something you're going to do, you know, for the foreseeable future. And I think that scares people maybe sometimes. I don't know. They want to get cut and then just stay that way. It's like, that's not how it works, you know, like
I think that short attention span thing has to do with like people want immediate results. If there's not immediate results for, I mean, when you can have immediate results like we already have in life, like we were spoken about, if you can't have, if my body cannot get immediate results, you're like, how the hell is that even going to happen? Like you understand, I know that's not going to, it doesn't work that way, but that's why there's no try. Cause it's like, it's a process and that process is going to hurt and I'm going to tear my fascia and then I'm going to be sad. And it's like, no, that's not actually what equates. You need, it will make you not sad. People, it's like, people will think it's like, I'm hurt and then it's over. And then it's like, that's just not what it's about.
No.
Exactly. And just go back to the Ozempic thing is I really wanted to get her off of it, but not try to build that confidence that she doesn't need it. And so I'm feeling that's what we're having to battle, especially with new clients. And like, well, what fat burners do I take, or what am I taking? What am I eating? Like, what is you taking? Is because I'm not going to prescribe you any kind of a pain pill or any kind of a fat burner or anything that takes that away. Then Ozempic is basically starving you. And so it's just out of concern for this client that I was like, please get off of that. And then ironically, when the rest of the group found out, they had like conversations with her too, because we're all in that same mindset and just getting away from the normal people around. Because I call that the normal people, the regular people. That's an easy way they would take. And I'm like, if you're signing up for Strongman, if you're signing up for my coaching, we don't take the easy way out. And so I want to see her grow and flourish and build that character, knowing she did it the right way. It may take 3-4 years from now, but she's gonna look back and be like, man, I'm so glad I got off of that, and it's better for my health. Because we don't know what symptoms that thing is causing. Yeah, it's all good for now, but it's only been the first 2 years, 3 years that's been introduced more frequently. So I'm like, just stay away from it. Just don't do it. Just don't.
Yeah, and I hear half the people get sick from it too. So I mean, she's one of the ones who's not, which is obviously a good thing. But it's also a good thing that she's taking it, but she's still with you. She's still trying to like do something about it, which is like, absolutely. I mean, that's huge. It's huge compared to people who just don't at all.
Physiologically, it's a crutch, literally. I mean, when it goes away, right? I mean, it's like if you stop taking it, it's kind of like, you know, like fad diets, crash diets, all those fun things. Like, I mean, when they go away, you're back in the same situation. If you haven't changed mentally, you're going to probably return to the same place you are, which I feel like is the bigger issue, which is exactly what you're trying to deal with, which I think is what obviously people need to do instead of trying to put a Band-Aid on it and hope for it.
Yeah.
I do feel like there's that general, like, do you find that more people want training to just lose weight compared to like get stronger?
Absolutely, because one of the biggest lines that we get when talking to a new person is, well, I just want to lose the weight. I don't want to build muscle. I don't want to get too strong. And I'm just
that's a hilarious statement.
Yeah, no.
What?
Talking to you also, you're like, what? Yeah. That's hilarious, actually.
Yeah, it's so common to hear that, and my brain can't process that. It's like, why would you choose weakness?
Right.
Like when you're saying I don't want to get strong, you're choosing to not be able to pick that up. It's like, what if one day you have, actually think about parents, you have your kids and you can't pick them up, you can't play with them. Right. I was like, how does that make you feel as a person? Like, it cannot feel good. It can't.
Yeah.
This is very confusing when I say that.
What's the deficit of being too strong? Like, where's the negative coming? There's no negative from the being too strong. Well, I don't want to look, too strong from afar.
Yeah, no,
said no. I don't understand that concept at all.
So many trainers and coaches, I have the same sentiment. They're like, well, if you want to lose weight, eat a caloric deficit and walk more.
Yeah,
like that's my plan for you. Like,
yeah,
I don't need it. There's no, we're not going to do anything. You're just going to walk.
You
more
actually
and eat
don't
less.
have to give me any of your money. I could just tell you. I could tell you to do a couple things, and then you won't get true strong. I promise.
I'll slap food out of your hand and tell you to walk more.
No, literally, it's. I think that, I mean, yeah. How many? What's the percentage of your clients that are coming into like get strong?
I'd say it's getting a lot better. I'd say now I'm getting about 90% that want strength.
Oh, awesome.
And even that want to do strongman. It's honestly when I went more online that I got the ideal clientele that I'm looking for. Because in persons, you're gonna get the ones who want the personal training, where they want you to count every box step, every step up, and I'm just like, I don't want to sit here and be like 1, 2. I was like, you can count. You're an adult. I'm not going to count for you.
Figure it out.
It's like, I want to push you. I want to see your deadlift form. I want to know your
Right.
mechanics. I want to see you compete and podium and all that cool stuff. I was like, you can count to 10. I'm not going to stay here and count to 10 for you.
Yeah.
So
Right.
let's get
Agree.
it's more. Yeah, so I'm glad I'm steadily getting out of that realm because I'm not
Yeah.
having too many clients like that anymore, especially in person because I just like I'm so bored. But now I'm getting competitors and I have my own strongman group, both online and at my gym. So I feel like
that's
coming along
awesome.
that way, I've been very blessed. Exactly, I tell them that all the time. I'm like, I'm so blessed to have you guys.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, coming to have a client come in because you're Nadia Stowers has got to feel so good.
It feels good because like agreeing to do interviews, for example, and just getting the word out there, taking pictures with anybody who wants to take a picture, because you never know what interview, what picture, what video that's going to hit somebody,
Yeah.
and you might actually get them into the sport, which happened a lot at this past OSG, who are people that I talked to all the way back in 2019, 2021, my first and second year at OSG. And they're like, I'm here because you told me to try it. And it's their first time. And I had about 3 or 4 of them come up to me, and that's impactful because I'm just doing what I like to do. But for you to actually inspire somebody to get into it, you are contributing and growing your sport. It feels great because it feels like a give back. It doesn't feel like a take all the time, and that somebody actually cared enough about what you said, about what you thought, and took it to heart in the best way. And they were there and they had a blast. And she always plays a beginning video, and they kind of were talking to me next to me, some people, and they're watching the video, and you can see them like, because they're standing right next to me. And I'm like, yeah, you can be up there too.
Right.
I love spreading the sport, and it's just such the coolest things when they tell me those stories.
When you started Strong Woman, did you imagine you would be inspiring women like that? Did you do this for yourself, or did you want to be that person to show off the sport, to show off what women can do?
At first, it was for my own benefit and stuff. And then once it kind of got my stride, once it started to get more attention, I was noticing, there's always the goods and the bads of every sport. And I wanted to shove down the bads as much as I can. And I want to show people the goods of the sport. Like, people might get hurt, but if you have a great coach, look, you can do this, and that. If you follow this plan, you'll get this invite, this show. And so it's just trying to always constantly set that example where I was saying there's the goods and the bads of every sport, and just trying to get everybody signed up. And it's just starting from the get-go. There's no way you think you're going to win a world championship, let alone 3. So it's like, occasionally I'll go just through my own videos because you need to, and you just take it all in and you're just sort of like, holy shit, like that's real.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it takes those videos, or for me to hold one of the flyers or a booklet from one of them and be like, that's real.
Yes.
Like in the Giants' lives, they make magazines and everyone has their pictures and their little things, and I was like, that was huge to me. And it's still surreal. It gives you chills when you think about it for too long, because it's been 7 years, but 7 friggin' crazy ass years, and there's no other way to put that. It's been insane.
And we've enjoyed it all. I mean, we're happy and super excited to continue watching all of this.
I mean, just to have Strong Woman literally not existed, and to be already where it's at is massive. I mean, it's humongous already. And it's only going to grow with people like you, with people like with Lucy Underdown and Rebecca Roberts and Angelica Jardine and Inez and all these incredible women that you guys are just showing. Every single competition is just blowing the next competition out of the water. It's just, you guys are getting better so substantially quickly. It's a beautiful thing to watch, and people like you are going to make this sport even bigger than it already is, and we couldn't appreciate it more.
No, it's us appreciating you guys in return, because that's the kind of feedback we need. Positive reinforcement, I feel like, works really well, especially in women's aspects, because the harsh way of coaching and the harsh way of talking, sometimes I notice it's a deterrent rather than to bring them on. So you tell them that they're doing a good job. You tell them that you can see the results, and that encourages them even more so to try it. And like you're saying right now, it's like myself, it's Mel, it's Sam, Andrea, Nez, that group, that's kind of us right now. And we all kind of go to the same shows because that's all we have right now. Mm-hmm. And so I'm keeping one eye in the back of my head, and I'm like, well, who's coming next?
Yes.
Like, yeah, we're still going to be doing this, but we need that next group. Yep. Right. And so it's always very cool to see new faces. Like this year, Jennifer Lyle, who I competed with at Shaw,
Yeah.
this is going to be her first Arnold. And I was like, there's a new face. Like, I'm so
Yes.
excited to get more people into this sport. And the only more we do that, there's just more opportunities. So I'm hoping the women who haven't done it yet are at least seeing like, oh, holy crap, they won whatever, 40,000, 50,000, 100,000 at Rogue. And that's the women. That's not the
Yes.
men.
I know.
It's like, we have these chances too now, you guys. So now's the time to jump on board because we're going like this. And
You
we just
are.
need more competitors.
Where are you seeing the women come from, like sport-wise? Like just from
There's
anything?
a mixture, honestly. Some of them are like me, and strongman was just like the first thing straight out of the gate. We get a lot of, I want to say, soccer players. I hear a lot of powerlifting, Olympic, and CrossFit. Like those are a lot of the top backgrounds that I know. I want to say majority with the women as CrossFit, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I feel like with the men, it's more of a powerlifting avenue where they come from. And so just I was like, okay, cool. If you know a little bit of CrossFit, I could work with that.
Yeah.
You know how to deadlift, you know how to clean, you know how to press. And so all those kind of transfer over very easily because we do all those things too. Now we're just gonna crank up the fun because now you're gonna pick up that rock and you're gonna press.
Yes.
As opposed to a barbell.
Yes.
No, for sure.
It is more fun to watch. I'll be
I
honest.
know. It's fine.
You know.
No, I completely agree. That's why I watch strongman. That's what I do. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people doing a live stream of powerlifting.
No, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
No, I know. No, but yeah, I mean, it's the reality, and hopefully we see some cool within the realm of safety events coming up in the the events to come. Because we like watching that. You know, the cars. I know that probably some people aren't into the cars and the weird logs and the fun things, but we definitely enjoy watching that for sure.
But like I said, you guys were drawn. You were the right audience. You
Right.
didn't see a car and go, "Why are they
Right.
doing that?" You said, "What are they doing?" So
Yeah.
that's the two different.
It's
You
true.
are our audience, and that's all that matters.
Yes.
Right.
That
No,
is true.
yeah. I mean, we're sort of recognizing that more and more, that like being a niche is not always a terrible thing, right? I mean, you get people that care instead of having a ton of people that don't, and it's a nice place to be.
It
I will
is.
say, talking to we've just started actually talking to athletes, and every athlete essentially tells us the same thing, where there's like a camaraderie among strong, like in strong woman, strong man, that like you don't find other places. I feel like, like powerlifting is kind of like you do your thing and then you go home. You eat your candy, you do your lift, and you go home in some cases. But I feel like the fun, the sort of like true camaraderie that you see in strong woman and strongman is like, it's unique. It's not everywhere.
It is because someone brought up a great point. They're like, what other sport are you going to see where someone finishes an event? Let's say take Stones, for example, where someone finishes before the other, and we turn around and we cheer for the other person.
Yeah.
Like, I can't really name another sport that does that, to be honest.
No,
I can't either.
And I feel like the events bring us closer together. So let's say there's an event that really sucks and we're all done. We're all in the backstage, just on the floor. You have that camaraderie talking about, oh, my legs went numb. Oh, that sucked. That was heavy. So yes, there's powerlifting where they have their 3 attempts, but not everyone's doing the same 3 attempts. Where if you're in your weight class, everybody has the same weights. We know exactly how it felt. And so it's just fun to kind of go back and forth with the athletes, honestly, because it's just so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw that. We were sitting right above the exit portion of the OSG.
The exit tunnel. We were sitting right there.
And it was wild to like see people, like athletes, compete and then turn right around, and they don't leave, they stay and they watch all the other
And
competitors.
they want to
compete,
cheer
and
so loud.
And they do, yeah.
But Lynn laid down the law.
Lynn
and
did
that's
lay
okay.
down
That's
the
Lynn's job.
Yeah.
He was laying down the law.
The camera is right there.
They are commentating right there. Keep it down. I'm like, all right, Lynn, I understand.
Sorry.
I know. Literally. They're like,
I don't know how to do that.
Don't hit the car. Don't hit the car.
Don't slap the car. That's a time penalty. Nadia, don't do that.
That is a penalty. But
You're like,
sometimes
sorry.
we leave these a bit force. Like everybody's just yelling and screaming, and at the end of the competition, while compared, like, yep, don't listen to me. I sound like crap right now.
Right.
But it just gets everybody hyped, especially when
yeah.
you see someone that's struggling for something and they actually get it. I mean, everybody wants to see you do well, which is, to me, it's very rare to strongmen. That's just something that we have that's special.
Totally. Absolutely.
Like a lot of you guys are training out of gyms independently typically, so you don't get to see each other that often. So when you guys get to come together like that and see everybody, put out whatever they've been putting putting work into all year. I'm sure it's so cool to see everybody, you know, surpass what they did and didn't do. Like, are you training with anybody, like at your gym? Do you compete with anybody specifically, or is it just you and your coach?
Really, like, it's just me and my coach, because we used to have people who are kind of interested in the same thing, but like, it's, people like to say it's for everybody. It's really not for everybody, because if you want to make it to the top, you really have to dig in. You really have to commit. And once it kind of got to that realm, I do notice where people start to fall off. So it's really me and my coach, honestly, pushing that drive and pushing everything. And why am I going to stop? Look where he's got me to. So I've got all the motivation in the world to continue.
Right.
So if you want to train with me, it's fine, but just know where my goals are at. We're going up.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, I would imagine as a coach, that's the perfect situation to be in too. So I'm sure that's
Jacob's like
mutually assured situation.
Yeah, Nadia's doing everything and more. I think I'm just fine right here. I don't think. Yeah, no, that's what you want. That's perfect.
It's been incredible. Absolutely.
Well, honestly, thank you very much for doing this.
You've been incredible.
Fantastic.
Nadia.
Do you have anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to mention, or anything you want to say to our 50 fans?
Yeah. Talk to our 35 people, Nadia. Tell them where they can find you.
First off, super enjoyed talking to you guys. Like I said, any opportunity to get the word out there, to share experiences, and hopefully if I reach one person out there, like, hey, I saw that interview and they're at the next show, I'm just like, that's worth it.
Right.
So thank you for that. And just leaving off with people is just get into it. Don't be so scared. Like I said, if you're afraid of getting hurt, don't take a shower. Don't walk across the street. Don't drive your car, because you can literally get injured turning your neck wrong. Like, it's anything is inevitable. So don't live your life at the bare minimum, not knowing what your true potential honestly is. If you need a coach, if you guys would be so happy as to tag me, or whenever you put this up, reach out. And if I'm not a good fit, I'm going to happily help you guys find a coach to get you on the right path. Like I said, I want to see more women at the shows. I want to see more passion. I want to know that there's that next generation coming up behind us when we're kind of fading out. There's plenty of time to build that. So ladies, get into it. Do not be afraid, because what you look like, you're not going to get overly muscular or whatever. We do this on purpose. It's us. I did this on purpose. Just get out there, just do it, and compete and have the blast. And if anyone has any questions or concerns, please let them know that they can always reach out to me via my Instagram. Just anyone who is interested in competing, needs a coach. Even if you don't take me on as a coach, please feel free to reach out. Send me your messages, send me your videos, and I'm honestly happy to help you. It's just something I want to see people do well, no matter what. So even if you don't take me on, I don't see you at shows, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm pretty good at responding back, because like I said, I want to help everybody. So reach out to me, guys. I got your back.
Awesome.
Thank
you, Nadia. You've been wonderful. We're so excited to see your 2025 season. It's going to be fantastic. And thank you again from the Strong Casuals.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Very welcome. I'm Anthony. This is Ben. We're the Strong Casuals. If you're gripping,
we're talking. The Strong Casuals is a Beats for the Mind Studios production. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at The Strong Casuals. You can find us on Reddit at r/TheStrongCasuals, and our email address is strongcasuals@gmail.com.